Yo, what's up? Welcome to KindaFunny Games Daily for Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is the CEO Senior, aka WWE Superstar, Greg Miller.
Eid Mubarak to all our Muslim KindaFunny best friends. How are you, Blessing?
I'm doing good this morning. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm good. How's that Wendy's coffee treating you? It was too hot when we first started the day.
It was very hot. It burned the outside of my mouth and like the
outside.
Part of my tongue. Yeah.
It's all over your
the entryway of my mouth. The entryway, you know what I mean? How's that coffee treating? Is that
your lips?
Like, it burned my lips. The inner lips, but like not all the way inside of my lips, you know what I mean?
The inner lips, sure.
Yeah.
The
outer
rim.
wilds.
The rim. The inner rim of your lips. Yeah. Oh, my coffee's doing well. Yeah, it's from the pot that we made this morning. So it's like below room temperature, but I'll drink coffee any time of day, any temperature. I don't like hot coffee.
No?
I want it to come down. I don't like hot stuff.
Really?
Like I like hot tasting. Like I like Tabasco sauce, but I don't like hot.
What about like hot
temperature
cocoa?
Even then, I'm gonna let it sit. It's got to come down
warm?
a bit. It's got to come down a bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't want to burn my tongue.
I mean,
I got
that's
food
fair.
to eat. I got
but also,
food to
I
eat
feel like
and
it's worth it. Like, I feel like that's part of the joy is that there's a little risk in enjoying something.
That's the risk.
There's a little risk. Might burn your tongue.
All right, yeah, sure. I guess that's true. Yeah. You live for the thrill.
Yeah, exactly. This is our third day hosting together. KFG. I feel like we don't
have
need Tim
enough
weeks where it's like it's all Tim and all Bless and Greg for a week straight.
Oops, all blessed Greg.
All Bless and Greg. Oh God, what I do to the schedule. Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been real good. It's been good to see you. You know, no Janet in between us. That's usually the problem over on PS.
True.
I love you. You know.
True.
Yeah.
We do have FTC stuff. In between
Oh wow! Well, at least it's different. At least it's not 3 days of the same drip feed of trial news.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's stories include a bombshell email from Jim Ryan. Xbox could have acquired Square Enix and more because this is KindaFunny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for KindaFunny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code KindaFunny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to KindaFunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, Patreon.com/KindaFunny will get you the show ad-free plus a bevy of bonus content. Housekeeping for you, a new KindaFunny Gamescast is up over on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. We talk about what, Greg?
AEW Fight Forever and some Final Fantasy game. I don't know.
Some Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, but more importantly, wrestling.
Yeah. Go over to youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames for that. Of course, we do have a review roundup. And I'm very excited to ask you questions because I have no idea what your thoughts are.
Oh, good. Excellent. I'm excited.
Yeah. And then over on Patreon, new Kind of Feudy is up where I ask the guys, name a game with a time loop mechanic. A system? A feature? I still don't know which one is the right word I should use.
Mechanic is the right word.
Whatever word you picked was fine.
All right.
And I say that because you're a benevolent host.
I appreciate it.
You're a good host of that. And of course, I was the champion.
I mean, spoilers for the episode. People might not have gotten into it yet. It just came out this morning, you know?
Yeah, I know. If you would let me finish the sentence.
Oh, you say
I was the champion when the show started. And so I know a lot of people are like, would Greg be the champion? You goddamn right he would be. I was going to spoil it. I don't fucking care. You all know you're watching Kind of Feudy because it's a fantastic show on patreon.com/KindaFunny. So come over and see that I can't fucking be stopped. Andy is nothing but a goddamn worm crawling out of the ground to get some of my spittle that he thinks is rain because he's a stupid one-cell worm. Meanwhile, Tim likes to come in, pretender to the throne, go buy a bomber jacket, you son of a bitch. I don't know what she sees in you. I'm the champ.
I don't think worms are single-cell organisms. I think they have more than one cell.
Well, you know, I have a trophy, so...
Single-cell worm is what you call them.
Andy's a different kind of worm, all right? You're thinking of an earthworm, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy's a single-cell worm.
One of them one-cell worms.
Yeah.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Casey Andrew, Delaney Twining, and James Hastings. Stay brought to you by BetterHelp, but we'll tell you about all that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 8 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with our number one. Sony's PlayStation's chief privately said Microsoft's Activision deal wasn't about Xbox exclusives. This is Tom Warren at The Verge. Again, as we've been talking about for the last week, right? The Xbox FTC trial has been going on. People like Phil Spencer, Jim Ryan, and more have been stating their case on why or why not Xbox should be allowed to acquire Activision
And it's
Blizzard.
strictly all about Call of Duty.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the
Call
fear.
of Duty is the big fear. It's the big asset here of, do you get Call of Duty exclusivity? Actually, no, it is not. Because here, Tom Warren from The Verge writes, we're only minutes into the FTC versus Microsoft hearing, or FTC v. Microsoft is legal talk, hearing, and we've already had a bombshell revelation. Sony's PlayStation chief, Jim Ryan, believed that Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard wasn't about locking games as Xbox exclusives. According to a newly unsealed email, Microsoft counsel revealed the exchange between Ryan and Chris Deering, former CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment, discussing the announcement of the deal last year. Now, this story started off last week at the beginning of the FTC hearing, as people have been talking about this sealed email, and we even had comments of Jim Ryan talking about, Xbox is going to put Call of Duty on PlayStation no matter what, right? Because that's not what this is about. Now we finally have the full email, and Greg, full email, very juicy stuff.
Oh,
very juicy stuff. Are you ready to hear it?
Yeah.
So this comes courtesy from Tom Warren at The Verge, where he tweeted out, here's the bombshell Jim Ryan email about Xbox exclusivity with Chris Deering, who says Microsoft would have been better off announcing an electric car than buying Activision.
Damn.
We then open up the email with very small font, so I got to lean in.
What's on the big screen, too, if you want there?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So this is Jim Ryan, right? It's not an Xbox exclusivity play at all. They're thinking bigger than that, and they have the cash to make moves like this. I spent a fair bit of time with both Phil and Bobby over the past day. I'm pretty sure we will continue to see COD on PlayStation for many years to come. We have some good stuff cooking. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm not complacent, and I'd rather this hadn't happened, but we'll be okay. More than okay.
More than okay.
And then Chris Deering replies to Jim Ryan and says, Phil Spencer was in CNBC saying that the acquisition would cement Microsoft as a player in mobile games. Strikes me as more of a King play than COD. But King sold to Bobby for $5 billion and has now grown to be worth 50 billion euros. If it was an Xbox exclusivity play, Spencer could have locked up Microsoft console exclusivity for the next 3 COD releases for maybe 5 billion euros. Then as we scroll down, the major cash out will lure most of the talent to take the money and run as fast as their contracts will allow, leaving Microsoft with a very gnarly management challenge. I bet Yves is smiling like the Cheshire Cat. If this was a play, is that what he's talking about here?
I assume so.
God. If this was a play to end run PS5, etc., I think it was massively overvalued and will not meaningfully succeed. I guess Microsoft can piss away that kind of valuation without being more harmed than helped. But I am not losing a wink of sleep over the future of our baby. Hope you agree. Cheers, Chris. P.S. They would have been better off announcing a new electric car. What do we do with this information, Greg?
The same thing we've been doing with everything about this for so long. You just go, oh, surprise. It wasn't about what they've said it's about. It's just the people saying what they need to say to try to stop the competitor from doing the thing that they would easily and gladly do if they had the chance in the capital, right? Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to here. This is unexpected, right? And you get to it, it's like more about mobile stuff than it is about Call of Duty stuff. The electric car is a great burn. It's just funny. It's always like, I don't feel sorry or anything like that, but we talked about this a little bit yesterday of how weird it feels to read these emails.
Oh yeah,
I'm just like,
man. when Chris Deering here hit send on this email, he didn't think the world would be reading it.
Yeah,
right. And like in the privacy of your own one-on-one DM with Jim Ryan, cool. Like, you know, I it's not like he's saying some fucking crazy shit or like he's like, I don't know, like gossiping about their own employees or something, right? He's just making a crack about them being able to announce an electric car, and that would have been a better thing. The thing about him calling PlayStation their baby, though, I think is also very funny.
Yeah, that's funny. I like that. I'm glad they care about it. I'm glad they call it their baby.
But yeah, like we're seeing things we're not supposed to see. It's very entertaining, but also it's very telling. I think the thing here is the question of, does this shut the whole thing down on the PlayStation side, right? Is this the argument that Xbox holds on to as, see, even PlayStation doesn't believe that this is a big deal, right? We're gonna us acquiring Activision Blizzard isn't gonna shake up the industry in the way that they claim.
When you literally have we'll be okay, we'll be more than okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of shoots a hole of you being on the stand and out there, Jim Ryan, making the rounds, being like, this could kill PlayStation, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Well, you just said in your own words, sir, that you'll be okay, you'll be more than okay. That this isn't an exclusivity play at all. It's like, meh.
Exactly.
Meh.
Another thing from this too, right? As more documents have been coming out, people have been making fun of. There's this PlayStation document that is them talking about numbers and them talking about development times, and there are certain things that are redacted. But if you squint your eyes a little bit, you can see what all the redacted things are.
Like Horizon Forbidden West lasted a total of
blank years.
5 years, starting
like
in
5.
2017 and ending in 2022. The game cost $212 million.
Yeah, to
with
develop.
over 300 full-time employees.
Sony did a great job on document redactions.
The most
Nice job,
difficult
Tom.
one is the Last of Us Part 2. How many months specifically? Because it looks like 20, but that's
I think
not
it's
right.
70.
Like 70 months.
It looks real. I'm gonna go get up close to the screen because you can see it real well here.
Yeah, because they say
it looks like it says starting in 2014 and ending in 2020.
Exactly.
And then costs were around 220 million. With headcount peaked around 200 full-time employees. How bad can you be at this?
Yeah, they should have used tape or something. Maybe not just like a permanent marker. You maybe should have used something a bit more concealing than what you did. Very interesting though that like I guess I get why, right, when you think about it, but Horizon Forbidden West costing $212 million, whereas Last of Us Part 2 costed $220 million. I would have thought that Last of Us Part 2 would have costed way more. Yeah, just based on how fucking technical that game is. Like gorgeous. I mean, but also Horizon Forbidden West, very gorgeous game, right? Open world game. You're talking about it being filled with more content, and so like I can see how that cost on Horizon side goes up, but
I wonder because like maybe costs were lower when Last of Us Part 2 started because it was back in 2014, right?
Yeah, and also PS4 development versus PS5 development.
I would wonder too, of course, like Forbidden West, you're starting with an engine and a template, and you kind of know what you're doing, right? You're expanding off of what you did with the last game, whereas Last of Us Part 2 plays very different than Last of Us Part 1, right? The environments are more open and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm with you, of course, that I would think like there might even be a bigger gap in terms of how much Last of Us costs versus how much Horizon costs. But.
Yeah. But again, very interesting stuff coming out here. I don't know, like what do you think is the end result? I know we talk about this all the time.
The end result is Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard. We've all wasted our breath and time and everything else, right? Like it just like even yesterday when you were not you, but when I, the royal you're reading through Rebecca Valentine and Tom Warren and talking through what's going on there. It's like you see lawyers like work in circles around the people they're putting up from the FTC who are worried about this and all this. It's like, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Oh, 1,000%.
They don't even understand video games. You don't understand video games. You're trying to get in here and do this. And so it's such a weird thing that's going to end, I think, with them just getting the approval to go do the deal, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Did you see the one back and forth between Phil Spencer and one of the FTC people talking about like they asked Phil Spencer, okay, so you bought Activision or you spent this amount of money for Activision Blizzard, and Phil Spencer responds, well, actually, it's we invested this much money because we look at Activision, and like he starts basically explaining how acquisition works to the FTC person. Yeah, that's pretty much what this is, and yeah, like as we've been talking about for the last year, 2 years, forever it feels like.
Yes,
it's gonna come down to who gets what, right? Like this is gonna go through, but it is. All right, what are the deals that we're signing? Does Call of Duty come to PlayStation Plus, right? Like, is it a 10-year agreement that we see Call of Duty get with everybody plus PlayStation plus Switch? What I
can't wait for is when it's all said and done, and Xbox walks away with Activision Blizzard, and then how many weeks until PlayStation announces their next acquisition? You know what I mean? And it's just like Xbox just throws their papers up of like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like, what has been going on when they buy Square Enix?
Yeah. Well, Greg, speaking of buying Square Enix, story number 2, Microsoft wanted to acquire Square Enix. This is Andrew Webster, once again, at The Verge. As part of its big wave of acquisitions, Microsoft considered adding Square Enix, the publisher behind the Final Fantasy series, to its Xbox portfolio. The news comes from internal documents released as part of the FTC v. Microsoft hearings, which previously revealed that Microsoft had considered other big names like Sega and Bungie. According to the documents, Microsoft had a number of reasons for being interested in Square Enix. Part of it was to bolster Xbox's historically scant presence in Asian markets. There was another obvious reason, to add more content to drive growth of Xbox Game Pass through new blockbuster Square Enix releases, as well as the company's extensive back catalog. A more surprising reason for the potential acquisition, however, was to gain a step up in mobile, which could help future mobile exclusive Game Pass offerings. Currently, Game Pass supports Xbox and PC, but it looks like Microsoft has had some broader plans in the past. Quote, Combining Square Enix's robust mobile native portfolio with our own could potentially help us create a mobile native Xbox Game Pass SKU, the document reads. Adding that to publishers' games, which include ports of classic games sold at a premium, would have substantial value for a subscription service. And so once again, we're seeing a play, or at least them talking about plays for mobile, right? And like,
sure.
It makes sense for what Game Pass is currently on console and PC, and with the idea of them expanding to mobile. You look at the Activision Blizzard acquisition, you're like, oh, that makes sense with King, right?
Yep. 100%. Yeah, you get gamers with Call of Duty and whatever, even if it's just the added benefit of it being Game Pass or, I don't think they'll do the exclusive. So the exclusive benefits. And then, yeah, if you're trying to build out a Game Pass mobile service, right, like something to compete to a degree with Netflix, how they're doing their mobile stuff, right, that'd be a really great move. Yeah, if you buy a company that has a bunch of mobile games that you could then put under one banner of the Xbox Game Pass mobile, there you go. Off to the races. That's great.
Do you think Square Enix does get acquired at some point in the next few years?
Again, like, I've talked about the rumor I had heard that Jeff Grubb had also heard or whatever back in, a while ago now of Square Enix getting acquired by PlayStation. And I think that fits in of them dropping the Western studios the way they did, right? Getting rid of Crystal, getting rid of IDOS, getting rid of Square Enix Montreal. I think you're trying to trim down to be acquired, try to get down to be what people would actually want from you. No offense to those studios I just named, but in terms of a business sense, in terms of a mobile sense, in terms of when you think of Square Enix, what do you think of? You think of Final Fantasy, you think of those big JRPGs, right? I think you get down to be that slim thing, so yeah, you could be acquired, which again will be hilarious if PlayStation acquires Square Enix in the next year and a half after the giant fight they've
that's my other follow-up question is, once this actually goes through, how do the floodgates open from there? Because we talk about, yesterday I was talking about Sega, Bungie, Supergiant, and a bunch of studios that Microsoft was looking at. After Activision Blizzard, I don't think either PlayStation or Microsoft is slowing down, right? Especially on the PlayStation side.
See, I would hazard a guess, and I don't know. I'm not a business person. I'm not that at all. I would think that after this fight, Xbox might pump the brakes just a little. Something like a Supergiant, indie studio, that's a different ball of wax. But in terms of going for something big, I think they pump their brakes because then it would be eye of Sauron right back on them, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I think right now you do this, you play nice, you do whatever the deal is you have to do with PlayStation to make this happen, and you don't look like you're trying to gobble up everybody in the industry. I think the interesting thing, is the response from PlayStation of what they'll do and who they'll acquire next and what they'll do and what their messaging will be on it. And then it's also that thing of like, we joked yesterday about, you suing us and all my emails coming out or whatever, all my Slack messages. Like, I need to just start shooting emails to Tim of like, we should look into acquiring IGN. It would be great for our portfolio for yada yada. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's all this is. It's like, clearly they were like, hey, we want to be bigger and we want to make Game Pass a better offering. Who should we be looking at? You saw that laundry list of people they were looking at.
I mean, it's the same way that we have conversations here about who Xbox or PlayStation could acquire, right?
Exactly.
Like, they're having the same conversation.
I'll make you the case for why we should acquire this person, but it doesn't mean that we're actually thinking really.
It doesn't mean that things are in motion. I think it still comes down to the things that we talk about when we're like, oh, why wouldn't Microsoft or PlayStation acquire a Square Enix? Well, they do have a lot of games that come out on Nintendo. Does that matter? Does that not matter? They're having those same exact conversations. And part of that is fun to like look through this and see that, man, our conversations are on point when we think about these things, because we've definitely had the conversations of, oh yeah, Xbox could acquire Square Enix or Sega to get that foothold in the Japanese market, since they do struggle there a lot. What would a Final Fantasy and franchises like that do for their library?
Yeah.
Those are conversations we have. Those are conversations Phil Spencer and those teams have. I think the one thing that maybe we need to talk about more is mobile, and how it seems like that is a heavy investment that Microsoft has at least considered, if not, still on the ball, having that ball rolling because of the Activision King thing, right? Yep. Like, that is something they want to do. That's also something PlayStation wants to do, is PlayStation has hired people to lead a mobile initiative, and like they have studios that are working on that thing, right? Like, that's something both PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo, at least in the past, has looked at, right? So it's very interesting to see that being a larger slice of the pie than I think we give it credit for in our conversations.
It's fascinating to see people still chasing mobile, because it still is the white whale. Whoever can really crack that and you can make a great thing and make it make sense to the general consumer, you will have a new cash cow in your hands, right? I think it is that idea of like, we love traditional gaming. We love, our consoles. Some people love PCs. I don't get it, but they love traditional ways. And it's like, I'm not saying all the juice has been squeezed from those lemons or whatever, or lemons, whatever, the fruit, I guess, the berries, all the berries. You know what I mean? But like, there's not like a whole untouched market you're going to find all of a sudden that you can do. Like we talked about Harry Potter yesterday with NPD numbers being a big driver, right? You talk about Zelda driving sales of Switch, but even then, it's like, well, how many people are just replacing their old Switch with the new old? It doesn't matter. The idea that there are so many people who everybody uses a smartphone for the most part, right? Not everybody, I would say, plays games on it. They don't consider themselves a gamer, yada, yada, yada. And I think, as we continue to see stuff like Pokemon Go or breakout successes that come along once in a while, like the King games we've seen before, right? Mm-hmm. As we all age up, I find myself more and more not drawn to mobile gaming, but mobile gaming no longer is this, oh, I'm playing a mobile game. How weird. It is like, oh, well, I want to play something. Marvel Snap. Okay, cool. There's something to play here. Mm-hmm. There's things there, let alone the fact that eventually, as you get older and mobile gaming just becomes synonymous with gaming, it's not a weird thing. I think there's more of a chance for people to play stuff there. And I think when you really get outside of us, North America and Europe and start talking about what's happening in other countries, right? Like, from what I understand is the statistics I've seen, like, you go over, Eastern Europe, right? You go across the continent over there into Asia, like you're seeing the dominance of cell phones in India, that people are doing stuff in there. And like, if you can get into that market and give a game there that's going to go farther than what you see, I think, in terms of traditional console gaming. Yeah. And of course, this, you go far enough, you hit Japan, right? Where it was, I remember so distinctly before the iPhone, we would laugh Levi Buchanan pretty much out of the room at IGN when he would be talking about we need to be paying IGN, we need to be paying attention to cell phone games. Mm-hmm. We're like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't understand. Go to Japan. Like, that is what's happening. People are playing games on their phone. That is going to jump here. It is going to become this thing, and it has, but it still hasn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it has, but I still think there's such a stigma to mobile gaming. There is still such a.
But I think we're in a bubble though, right? I think that is because we are in games media that is focused on console and stuff, right? But like, I look around even in San Francisco and there are ads for Genshin Impact,
of course,
on buses and billboards and stuff.
Yeah,
and
Total War or whatever.
Yeah, and like
whatever the war game is.
I know exactly
one of the thousands of war games they always want me to play.
But these are games that have millions and millions and millions of downloads on mobile, right? I'm playing Genshin Impact on my PlayStation, but I'll easily guess that most people are playing that game on mobile, and that's a very impressive and very popular and very lucrative game. Right?
I think you're going to see more and more of that happen, where our bubble gives up on it being a stigma. Because I think personally, I'm already there, where I'm fucking. You can go back for Marvel Snap, sure, and then the Marvel ARPG I played on my phone, and then it's like looking ahead now, like Division Resurgence. I'm down for a Division on my phone, but then even for a more traditional mobile experience, right? When we left SGF, I was talking how much about I really liked Monster Hunter Now. Like, will Monster Hunter Now be my obsession that I play for 80 hours? No, but I'm definitely downloading it when it comes out. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I'm definitely see myself waiting around.
Tim Geddes with with Marvel Snap, right? Yeah, I guess the whole office.
Tim's way better, way bigger to do it than me.
Yeah, but like, I mean, that's a thing that's taken over and even has infiltrated our communities, right? It infiltrated our bubble. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is going to come out at some point, and that's one that I want to try out. I know that's one that Tim's super excited about.
He liked it at SGF when we played it up there.
Yeah, and I think about the future, and when we're going back and talking about MiHoYo, which is like or Hoyoverse, which is the Genshin Impact company, right? Like, they're putting out more games. They're putting out the Honkai Star Rail, right? That has gained a lot of popularity. They're going to put out Zenless Zone Zero, and that's the one that I've been keeping my eye on that looks dope as hell, that is probably going to be out for PC, probably console, and most likely mobile. And if, like Genshin Impact, that progress carries over between platforms, if you have the cross-save and cross-progression stuff, oh man, am I going to be playing that all the time on my phone when we go on trips, when we go to Summer Game Fest or whatever in my hotel, right? As opposed to taking my Steam Deck or my Switch and possibly losing that on the plane.
And it's that weird thing of like, I think for me personally, let's get back to Xbox Game Pass being on mobile and, the power of that. I, of course, have talked a lot about how much I love the idea of cloud gaming, how I use remote play a lot, but I've used the cloud here and there and stuff like that. I think what would be interesting about Game Pass mobile coming, right, would be the idea of not only, okay, cool, cloud's bundled in there, you're there. It would be the idea that that's the tile on my screen where I think I want to play something, I should go in there and kill time and do that. I don't do that with Netflix. Netflix has the run of games, and I think of Oxenfree, and I think of, they have Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, and Before Your Eyes.
Just last week, I booted up Exploding Kittens on there.
TMNT, Shredder's Revenge. 12 minutes, I say, oh, these are games I know are great, but I'll wait to play them on my PlayStation, right? Yeah. I'll wait till I get home on my big screen. It's that idea of like, I know that there are good mobile games on here that are designed for mobile, but then you're back into this weird thing where there's this discrepancy of what we are as core gamers versus the mobile gamer market, right? Where I don't know what's hot in the streets for just a mobile game. You know what I mean? I look at these and go, oh, these games that I know I love from my console space are on the mobile thing. But I look at this and it's like Balloons TD6 and like crime scripted crime stories, and it's are those good? Are those
but like
are
I
those
think
mobile
you know what's hot in the streets,
garbage?
right? Because it's the same stuff that's hot in the streets on console now, right? It is Fortnite.
But see, that's what I'm saying though. Is like I don't think the success of Xbox Game Pass Mobile, of Netflix Mobile, is going to be found in, hey, here is a console game that you can play on your phone. I think that those are nice to be there, and I think that like that you can get me to eventually maybe switch off and do that. Fortnite, yeah, you know, I've played Fortnite on my phone when it was native and then through Xbox Cloud, right?
Yeah.
But like right now when I turn on and I see Oxenfree and I see Before Your Eyes, I go, oh, well, if I wanted to play those, I'd play them at home.
And I agree with that.
Where I'm saying I want there to be a great Monster Hunter now on here, which is a bad example, but you know what I mean? A game that is mobile, that is a great mobile game that I get in, that gets us hooks, and suddenly I start thinking more about, shit, I should be playing more games on my phone. Okay, I really enjoy this. I'm opening the Netflix Games app to go to that, but then I see Oxenfree, and I'm like, you know what? I do need to replay Oxenfree before Oxenfree 2. Why not play it on Netflix and do it? You know, I feel like that's the disconnect right now for us. And I think the other side of the disconnect is, in general, if you're a mobile gamer, I don't think a mobile gamer thinks of themselves necessarily as a mobile gamer. They probably think that I play Genshin Impact. I play Candy Crush. Mobile. I play whatever the game is. You think of the game, and so I think getting them getting a whole bunch of good games under an umbrella that you click in to see to get to the game you want, then entices you to go to other games.
Yeah.
When Apple Arcade originally launched, I went through and played Mini Motorways and a couple other things on there that I enjoyed, but then I, got caught up and didn't do it, so I let my subscription lapse and I never came back. So it's another thing of just like trying to keep people in there, not having, if Xbox Game Pass works, if they get it running on mobile and they have this stuff, I'm already paying for Xbox Game Pass. So cool, it's there and I can see it. I'm not gonna feel like I'm wasting money like I was with Apple, where it was, they're adding 3 or 4 new games. I don't know what the hell they are. I know I don't have time to play them, so I just saw my money going out the window to something I'm not using. Goodbye. Whereas this is already part of an ecosystem I'm using. Let's go. And I think Netflix would benefit from that too if they fucking promoted the fact they have these games. If the Netflix app broke out on its own, or again, if I was a Netflix mobile user, I think that would be a different conversation. Because the struggle for me is that I use Netflix at home on my TV. So I forget they have games because I don't ever open this app to see that. When they make the jump and put them on there, if there is something great, and let's throw out Puzzle Quest 3, which I adore, right? If Puzzle Quest 3 was there and that was where it debuted or something to that fact, and I could play it everywhere and linked up, then sure, I'd be doing that.
Yeah, I think the tough thing with Netflix in particular is that, like, I don't think they have that hardcore vision of what they want their mobile game initiative to be, right? Like, when you go through and you list the games, funny enough, like, there are some games you're listing that are, as for us that cover games that we've played some of these games on console, and you look at, I think Immortality is on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Immortality is a fucking, like, that's a nerd ass video game for Blessing and Greg to play, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was one of my games of the year last year. But when you look at the Netflix catalog, you look at that, you look at the dodgeball strategy game with a fun art style, you look at the Oxenfree, you look at those games. Weirdly enough, I feel like even though on console there's like this hardcore, like, oh man, you're into indies if you play this. On mobile, it's almost like, oh, this is more casual. Like, this is there to kind of fill in the catalog. Where when I think about what Game Pass could be on mobile, and when I think about what they have with Activision and King, right? You're talking about Candy Crush, you're talking about Call of Duty Mobile, right? And you're talking about those probably being the stars, and then trying to fill in those. Like, when I think of the hardcore mobile experiences, I am thinking things that are almost like console games, right? But are, I guess, structured like a Genshin, structured like these big, massive worlds that you can live in and play in. Like, that is what I think that's what I think are the moneymakers for mobile, right? Or becoming more of the moneymakers, right? Even the Fortnites of the world. I think those are the leading charge, and everything else I think is, kind of is doing its own thing. And I know there's so many different pockets of mobile, because there's also like, for sure, the fashion, like, life sim type stuff, right? Like, there's a hardcore side of what mobile gaming is, but it just isn't what we typically think is hardcore. I think it is the stuff that is just demanding of your time, and you have like you're on your phone for hours a day putting time into this thing, and it's like the same thing you're playing. And to your point, right? It's like I don't look at those people as mobile gamers. I view them as somebody who, you know, plays this one specific game, or like Tim plays Marvel Snap. Yeah, like this person plays a lot of COD and COD Mobile, right? Like that's kind of how I view it.
There's a lot of value to Xbox figuring this out and figuring out Xbox Game Pass on mobile, as you know, Jim Ryan's worried about, right? Because if you break through and do that, and you can get them into the ecosystem, they can understand it. Like the, you know, example I would give of how complicated the ecosystem is, so it's not even worth trying necessarily, is when I went to Royal Rumble and I brought my college friend and she brought her kids, right? They were Fortnite obsessed, of course. And so we went out, did Rumble or whatever. We went to the Rumble store. I don't know why this matters. It doesn't. But when we took them back to the hotel room to drop off their bags, like, Mom, can we just play a little bit of Fortnite? And she's like, sure. And they're like, Greg, do you have your Switch? Can you play? And I was like, well, no, I can't. And I didn't want to introduce the idea of Xbox Game Pass or xCloud having Fortnite because I was like, I know your mom doesn't want you playing it all the time, but I was like, I have a way to log in and do the thing and add you as friends at least. And I did that, but then they caught wind that it was full Fortnite. But it's like the idea that you could express to them, if Xbox Game Pass reached its final fucking form, right? Which is, we are this mobile app, we are xCloud, we are your Xbox, we are the mobile games, we are Fortnite. Like, I feel like that would be such a breakthrough if you could make people understand that your Xbox Game Pass subscription is for, you know, $15 or whatever it is now, $20, the best value in gaming, gets you all of this and is everywhere and gets you unique experiences on the device you are on. You know what I mean? You are getting these mobile games here. You can access Fortnite anywhere in the world and be able to play this. You can stream your games if you're buying the big budget games. Like, there's something to it where that is, I understand the fear from Jim Ryan there. I understand the fear of PlayStation there because, again, like Xbox wants to be ubiquitous and they don't want you to think Xbox and think of a console. And I feel like that would be a great breakthrough on so many levels if it was, hey, we are on mobile and here's this thing, and you get people to come over to play their Final Fantasy Square Enix game. You get them to come over and play their Activision King mobile game through the app, and then they find out that Fortnite's there too. Oh, but I thought Fortnite wasn't on my iPhone. Well, it's not anymore. You're streaming it from the cloud and you do this. Oh, that's really cool. It works really well. Yeah, you can buy any of the Xbox exclusives you've heard of, or not even buy them through Xbox Game Pass. You can just play those too. It's like, that's when the wheels start spinning and it does become okay, well, this is something I understand more and I'm in an ecosystem. And again, the kids who are at the hotel who only know Fortnite really through their Switch and don't have Xbox Game Pass and don't have xCloud, like, I don't have to explain to them making an Xbox account to do the thing to blah, 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 blah.
There's a lot of content on Xbox Game Pass.
Lots of content.
There's also lots of content on KindaFunny.com/Patreon. Over on Patreon.com/KindaFunny, you can go and get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. I know this from experience, how often it just seems easier to care about others and to keep it moving. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my very best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/KindaFunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KindaFunny.
And we're back with story number 3. Final Fantasy 16 has sold 3 million copies during its launch week. This is George Yang at IGN. Final Fantasy 16 has sold over 3 million copies during its first week on sale, Square Enix has announced. Square Enix said the milestone consisted of both physical and digital sales on PlayStation 5. Physical sales for the game in the UK were reportedly 74% lower than those of its predecessor, Final Fantasy 15. Still, Final Fantasy 16 was still the top overall seller during its launch week. The solid sales numbers should be considered with the caveat Final Fantasy 16 is only available on the PS5. Final Fantasy 7 Remake shifted 3.5 million copies in 3 days when it launched as a PS4 exclusive in April 2020. But that was to a much larger install base of consoles than PS5 currently enjoys. Final Fantasy 15 sold 5 million units in its first day, but that game launched on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in November 2016. Final Fantasy 15 remains the fastest selling game in the history of the series. It was that Stand By Me cover by Florence and the Machine.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I mean, that's the only thing I experienced of Final Fantasy 15, and you know what? I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I love that song.
It was. Yeah.
It
was a really good song. That was a fun launch event me and Tim hosted. That's what the reveal event. Yeah. And we got to announce that and they got to play it. I got to hear like 900 times during rehearsal, which is I'm not complaining about.
Yeah.
And then I played the game and I played the game for a couple hours. I was like, I'm good. I don't need it.
That one didn't do it for you?
No.
You've not gotten to Final Fantasy 16 though, right?
I've done 3 hours of it. We talked a little bit on Gamescast about it because I got it, but it came right before SGF, but I was still playing Diablo or reviewing Diablo, and then I moved over to that. But then I did it for 3 hours, but then it was AEW, which I just reviewed on Gamescast, and then it was you know how it is around here. You guys were leaving the review. You didn't need me. So I did it. I enjoyed my 3 hours of it. I want to get back to it. I thought out loud on Gamescast yesterday that I should restart. Just to really get the cinematic. And Tim's like, don't do that. Don't even bother.
Yeah.
He's like, just keep going. You're so
There's
early
so
in
much
the game.
happening. Yeah, you're so early.
Yeah.
Active time lore, baby.
I know. I got the time lore. Yeah.
I think I learned more from Active Time lore than I did from the cutscenes.
Yeah. I was thinking about
useful.
today. I have, a light day. So, once I dig through the 900 emails and business things I need to do, I was thinking I could play a game. And I was like, well, here we go, Final Fantasy time. But then look over there, is Dave the Diver, and I got to check out what's up with Dave the Diver, man.
Oh man, we're gonna talk about Dave the Diver in a second, but yeah, I mean these are great sales for Final Fantasy 16. I mean 3 million copies. I forget the number of PlayStation 5s that are out there, but like we're talking, I think under 50 million, probably somewhere around.
I got a facts page here. Let me get.
I appreciate you with the facts page, but yeah, like I think 3 million out of however many PS5s are out there right now. Pretty good number, right? Like that's a pretty good. That's like a decent percentage of the install base, and that number is only going to grow because these are just first week sales.
Currently, there are, and this is of course from the old Wikipedia. Units sold 30 million as of January 4th, 2023.
Anyway, okay, so that's recent. Oh yeah, no, that's great. Those are great sales. Yeah, 3 million out of around 30 million units. That's fucking huge. Yeah, go get them, Final Fantasy. I think
you loved it.
I loved it. Shout out to the demo as well, because I saw so much excitement pick up from when they released the Final Fantasy 16 demo. It felt like before that there was a little bit of like all right, Final Fantasy 16 is about to come out. Like, does anybody care? Like, where's the excitement at?
Yeah.
Once that demo came out, I saw my whole timeline.
For me, it was when Michael Heim came back from that preview, and I know he's like Final Fantasy crazy, but everything he said, I was like, this sounds like something I don't want to play. This sounds like something I want to play. Mm-hmm. And then from when I started before I got pulled away by reviews, I was like, I like this combat. I like the storytelling so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Story number 4, Red Dead Redemption has been rated in South Korea. This is Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. A fresh Red Dead Redemption rating in South Korea has sparked rumors about a possible remake or remaster. As spotted by Idle Sloth on Twitter, South Korea's Game Rating and Administration Committee, aka GRAC, could be at the center of another leak after listing something simply titled Red Dead Redemption earlier in June. The listing is completely separate from the original 2010 Red Dead Redemption, as the rating for this can still be seen on GRAC's website, as well as Red Dead Redemption 2, which is also listed as its own entity. Nothing else is given away in the listing, except that this version of Red Dead Redemption has also been rated as an 18. The South Korean ratings board has been the source of many leaks in the past few years. GRAC listed Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign remaster ahead of its official announcement, for example, and recently leaked the unannounced Lego football video game from 2K. As a reminder, VGC is written by a bunch of people in the UK, so when they say football, they mean soccer. Its ratings do not indicate anything concrete regarding a potential release date, but actually this is written by IGN, so I got that absolutely wrong. I'm just so used to reading from VGC. Its ratings do not indicate anything concrete regarding a potential release date, but both God of War Ragnarok and Marvel's Midnight Suns were listed roughly 6 months before their launches last year. A Red Dead Redemption re-release. What do you think that is, Greg?
I'm trying to find it too. You're crediting VGC. We just assume all the news on the internet comes from VGC. I saw someone in KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. Feel free to check, get it for me, get the tweets for me. Somebody, and don't think just VGC, because clearly I can't find it from any of the normal VGC players. But somebody put out a quote tweet of this today saying this lines up with what I had heard. And it was the rumor that maybe this grab, I don't know. And something let me know. But it was the thing that this had been a remake, or not a remake, a remaster of Red Dead 1 had been rumored a while back.
Yeah. Well,
and then it had a bad reception to the GTA trilogy thing, so they cooled their jets on it, so nobody knew what was happening with it. And now the rumor that I read from an unnamed source on Twitter putting all this out this morning was saying that they thought it would probably line up with getting GTA 6 out the door and then this after it.
Oh, like, yeah, this coming out after GTA 6. Interesting.
Yeah. I believe it, of course. Red Dead, is a beloved game for a reason. It's a great game, unlike Red Dead 2. And so, like, this one, I think you get this into the hands of people, they'd be excited for it. And especially with the, glacial development of Rockstar games these days, I think getting something else out to make more money is probably good for them. Something they don't have to work too hard on because it's a game it's hard to remake, remaster, whatever it's going to be a game. But I think, just having someone else work on that, not GTA trilogy yet, but somebody else work on it, get it out there. Why not? Yeah.
I mean, this is part of what we've seen Rockstar do before. It was announced a couple years ago, maybe about a year ago, that Remedy is working on Max Payne remix. And then last gen we got the LA Noire re-releases in a VR version. Like, yeah, Rockstar likes to look back at the back catalog and go, how do we re-release things in the interim as we're developing
How do we not make new things?
How do we not make new things so we can take 7 years working on a big open world game? And so I'll go get them. Sure. Yeah, I'll take a Red Dead Redemption remake or remaster. I guess that's my thing is, is it worth remaking Red Dead Redemption? Do people even want that? Like, is Red Dead Redemption?
I don't think it's worth remaking. I think remastering makes sense.
When you say remaster, are you thinking like Last of Us Part 1, or are you thinking even like less work done than that?
Less work done than that. I mean, I am
because that'd be pretty cool though.
Last of Us Part 1, yeah, that would be pretty.
If
cool.
you got a
That's
Red Dead Redemption 1 that looked like Red Dead Redemption 2,
yeah, okay. I could go for that. Sure,
I could be into it too.
Except when you get to Mexico.
And then what? Just reverse back to old graphics?
No. I'm saying I could go for all of that, except remember how Mexico's when the game dipped.
Oh yeah, I mean
Mexico's where a lot of us fell off, and you came back later.
A confession for me?
Yeah,
that's when I stopped playing the game.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah,
a lot of people
I got to
did.
Mexico and I just stopped playing.
Yeah. I think I put it down for a couple weeks, if not a month, and then came back and powered through.
I've always wanted to play Undead Nightmare.
Oh, Undead Nightmare's so good.
I never got around to playing it.
Oh wow, that's really good. You should do that.
Cool. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll hit up Mike.
Halloween.
That's a good one. Good time. Story number 5. We got a new report that says Star Wars Eclipse is targeting 2026. This is Tom Henderson at Insider Gaming. Insider Gaming sources have revealed that Star Wars Eclipse, developed by Quantic Dream, is targeting a tentative 2026 release date, but it could be delayed further.
This is what you pull. Immediately.
The news comes from the same sources that revealed Chinese tech giant NetEase would be acquiring Quantic Dream 6 months before it was officially announced. Sources once again restated Quantic Dream's struggle of hiring staff following allegations of workplace issues, including sexual harassment, crunch, and toxic work culture. In fact, one whistleblower who brought these allegations to light is still in legal battles with Quantic Dream, which is expected to finalize later this year. It's understood that, due to the scope of Star Wars Eclipse and alleged issues with hiring staff, the game could be delayed further from its 2026 target. Because of such date targets, Star Wars Eclipse is likely the most far-out Star Wars game that has been announced. So far, there are 6 announced Star Wars games in development that are yet to release. This is one that it's hard to, I guess, look at through 2026, we'll see it. Because, sure, that's 3 years away.
I'm telling you right now, this is Greg's half-court shot on June 28th, 2023. We never see this game. This game never makes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which part of it tells you that? Is it the workplace?
Nothing tells me it. What I reading into it and this, that, the other, and they still can't hire people. Eventually, Disney's gonna look at this and be like, okay, let's not do this anymore.
It's still surprising that Disney.
It's a milestone. It's milestone time. What do you guys have to show for it? Well, we have this, but we're behind, and we're still trying to hire up. You've been trying to hire for how many years on this project, and people don't want to do it because of the allegations that we look past to do this part. We're just gonna, part ways on this one and see you later.
I'm still surprised they greenlit it in the first place.
100%.
Quantic Dream for a Star Wars game seems like such a weird fit.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to imagine what that game is. There have been things swirling online of it's a action adventure game that does also have choose your own adventure type of elements, right? And it's like, what does that look like from Quantic Dream, right? That's not their typical kind of.
You don't think of action when you think of Quantic Dream. You think of story.
Yeah. And I think even a Quantic Dream narrative game for Star Wars is a weird fit for the kinds of stories they tell. I don't know. I think I would have liked to see more original stuff from them. But hey,
that's the whole thing is weird because it's a weird one to put together with Star Wars and say that it's going to be action adventure. Why not put them together and be like, they're telling a narrative game? They're doing a narrative Star Wars game. Okay, it's a weird one because of allegations and because Disney is, you think, want to distance themselves from that.
Yeah.
And then on the Quantic Dream side, it's a weird one of like, so is this a David Cage game? Because David Cage has always been an auteur, right? He's always struck me as a Kojima of like, hey, I want to make my weird idea.
Yeah, I got something to say.
I want to do Heavy Rain. I want to do Beyond. I want to do all these things that are like my original thing. Whereas like so like Disney came to you and was like, we want to make a Star Wars game, or you pitched for a Star Wars game, and so like, are you? I don't know. And then it's like, I'm way more stoked right now about and I guess this shouldn't be unheard of, right? I'm way, because we haven't, whatever, I guess we've heard of Eclipse, sure. I'm way more interested in Quantic Dream publishing. We saw a lot of those games at SGF, right? I'm looking over here, like Under the Waves was one that I really liked. That one of that man, like, underneath the water in the little substation. Dustborn, Lisfanga, yeah. Like, those all look neat and cool, and I'm glad to see them helping get games out, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, this one's a weird one of just like,
it feels like a Quantic Dream that's trying to reinvent themselves, but like I would love for part of that reinvention for them to look inward and go, let's purge all the negative aspects of Quantic Dream. Like, and maybe it's just the fact that part of that would be maybe to get rid of David Cage, because David Cage has been a complaint for years and years and years of one of the reasons Quantic Dream seems to not be working. And I don't know if you can, as Quantic Dream, I don't think you can do that with one of your leads. Quantic Dream, like David Cage doesn't look at himself and go, "Oh man, maybe I should purge my company of myself."
I'm
like,
the
that's
problem.
Not a thing that, I'm the problem here. But yeah, like I would like to. I'm with you that I think them looking into publishing and like having an interesting eye for games that look different, look interesting, and games that I would like to play. Right, all those games you just mentioned have something that speaks to me. I think that's a cool direction for it. But yeah, then I look back at Star Wars Eclipse and the reports of issues and the reports of it being, of course, being hard to hire people at Quantic Dream, because who would want to work at some place that has this list of things of, oh man, it seems like it's terrible to work here, right? Like, yeah, there's a stain on it. It's just a weird thing. But yeah, I could see that call. I could see you making the half-court shot of this game never comes out.
Yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. Do you know what else we'll see?
What will we see?
Scores for AEW Fight Forever, because the reviews are out. Greg Miller, you reviewed it.
I did.
Right now on Metacritic, it is sitting at a 64. On OpenCritic, it is sitting at a 62. Jarrett Green at IGN gave it a 6 out of 10 and says unrealized potential feels like the story of AEW Fight Forever as a whole. So much of it feels like a very good start, going full gear with bouncy animations, the quick pace of the action, and fun, and effective character design. But almost all of its good ideas are hampered by bugs and opaque or outright useless systems. Its big single-player mode is poorly written, and though it's a relative breeze to complete and full of branching options, it's all out of good ways to point you to them. There's a strong foundation to bet double or nothing on a sequel down the road, and I think there's still fun to be had here with like-minded friends who are content with casually beating each other up, but this is no wrestling game revolution. And then Marcus Stewart at Game Informer gave it a 6.3 out of 10 and says, if nothing else, AEW Fight Forever has potential. I'm happy to have a more arcade-style wrestling game, especially one based on a major promotion. The gameplay has a strong foundation, and when it's firing on all cylinders, the action channels the simple fun of 90s and early 2000s. The rest of the package just needs to catch up. Until it does, even the most passionate AEW fans may have a hard time sticking around for this main event. And then Jason Finelli at GameSpot gave it a 6 out of 10 and says All Elite Wrestling's first match in the video game ring is a solid outing and that doesn't quite live up to its real world product. Greg Miller.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch the review yet.
So you might have missed then. Yeah, it's a review from me and Sancho West on KindaFunny Gamescast right now, youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. And of course, podcast services around the globe.
What did you give it?
I was lead reviewer, but Sancho agreed with a 3 out of 5. An okay on the KindaFunny scale. So echoing all of these reviews. And yeah, we go into way more depth on the review. I urge you to go watch it, please. But yeah, it's exactly what people are saying here. It's a solid wrestling engine. It is the modern No Mercy. It is, they deliver. Kenny Omega had been very upfront early on saying that's what they were going for. That's what they got. They nailed it. But that does come with some mechanics in the engine that I think are left behind, some AI problems, a few things here and there. And then, what I described it as, and so many people just echoed right, was shallow in the other departments of like, well, you're earning you're earning this currency in the game that you then use in the in-game store to buy, new wrestlers or, buy new moves or things in the arena and yada, yada, yada. But I did one road to the elite, which is their career mode, and then another half of one and a handful of exhibition, and I bought pretty much everything in the store already. And long before then, I had run out of things I wanted to buy. I wanted to buy Cody Rhodes and the female ref. I did, and then it was like, well, there's outfit changes, but no other people. The road to the elite is a great idea, but it doesn't narratively make sense in a lot of places, which really sucks. I think they, the No Mercy stories did make sense. They branched, they did different things. You felt like you were living a career, where this one is way more like, oh, it's goofy. The first review talked about like some nonsense that's thrown in there that is cute and fun the first time around, but then the second time around, you're like, all right, skip. Yeah. Like, it is a solid wrestling engine. There is fun to be had. Sancho was very much like, he had a friend come over and play, and he's like, that's the way to do it. And I could easily see that being the case as well. But if you're a single player person, I don't think there's much there right now. One of the resounding things I've heard from a respectful AEW fan base this morning is like, well, but they've promised, there's DLC coming and they're going to update the game. And do you think that would have changed this? And it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Yes, yes. Everything was that. Yeah, probably if there was more content. But we're talking about right now a $60 video game, and if it's worth your money and your time right now. And I think it's an okay game. I think it's a fun game. I think there's fun to be had there. But I don't think it's something you need to rush out and buy. It's not something I would tell as someone, hey, I really love wrestling games. Should I get it? I would. You can try it. You can see how much do you really. What do you want out of it? And that was the other interesting part of the review that Sancho is an AEW fan. I am not. And it's one of those, he was very disappointed by the fact that it's so far behind what the AEW product is right now. And that always is a problem with wrestling games, but it's especially a problem here for him. And for me, it was that idea of like, I was a WWF kid growing up, right? So when I finally got my hands on WCW NWO Revenge, that was what introduced me to WCW. And it didn't make me go watch the product, but it made me understand what's happening over there. So I think there's a way to have a wrestling game that isn't your promotion really open your eyes and do some stuff with you that make you go, oh man, I want to consume this, or I want to know more about it, yada, yada. And that didn't necessarily happen here.
As we've been talking, right, we've had some different pieces of breaking news from the FTC trial. This is from Benji Sales. Just revealed Bobby Kotick and Nintendo have had active talks about the next generation Nintendo console. Also says that apparently next gen Nintendo console is close to Gen 8 power. So they're talking about the next Nintendo being as strong as the PS4 and Xbox One.
Wow.
Cool. Sounds about right, honestly. Like, that lines up. If the Switch is powerful as a PS3, then sure, yeah, the next one could be a PS4 power. All right, cool.
Make me a portable PlayStation 5. Let's go.
I mean, you're getting that.
No.
It's called Project Q.
I'm still, yes, that's remote play, though. You know what I mean.
Portable PlayStation. This is the controller glued onto a tablet. They used Ultra Hand to glue those things together. Story number 7, Greg. I got another review roundup for you.
Hell yeah, you do.
I titled this review roundup, What the Heck is Dave the Diver?
Oh my God.
This went around this morning. I saw, I think it was Noble that tweeted about it, that like the Metacritic had gone up for Dave the Diver, a game that I had never heard of.
Yep.
The description of Dave the Diver reads like this on Steam. Dave the Diver is a casual single-player adventure RPG featuring deep sea exploration and fishing during the day and sushi restaurant management at night. Join Dave and his quirky friends as they seek to uncover the secrets of the mysterious blue hole. Now, this stuck out to me, of course, because in that Noble tweet, he had screenshotted Metacritic, and on Metacritic, right now, it's an 89.
Yeah.
On OpenCritic, it's a 91.
Yeah.
I've got one review for you here from Travis Northup at IGN, who gave it a 9 out of 10 and says, Dave the Diver is a tremendous and unforgettable RPG adventure that I can't put down. The story and characters are full of heart and charm. The underwater exploration and restaurant management are easy to lose time to, and the sheer number of weird minigames and other surprises that are packed in the 30-hour adventure ensure things never grow stale. Even with wimpy bosses and simple puzzles and a fair number of bugs, Dave the Diver has so many other interesting and intriguing things going on that it's easily one of the best games I've played this year so far.
God damn!
Now, Barrett is playing the trailer without audio. Would you want to do like a reaction to this trailer with audio? Because I went and watched the trailer. And it's a very like
I watched it yesterday too, so it wouldn't be a reaction. Like I had already seen it. I'm in a very similar boat to you, except I had 24 hours notice of yesterday. I forget who quote tweeted this into the timeline, and I was like, okay. I clicked on it, and if you are an audio listener, you need to go watch the trailer because it starts off. You're like, oh, I can kind of whoa, that's an interesting mechanic. What the? And like by the end of it, you're like, this looks like 17 different games in one. It looks like you're doing 17 different things, and that was both alluring in terms of, wow, that's a really great trailer for an indie I've never heard of, and then also terrifying of like, I hate it when an indie game has a great idea, but then they put another great idea and they never flesh out the ideas.
Yeah.
So you just go from great idea to great idea, but they never like give you the, you never sink your teeth into it. So I'm stoked to see this morning. This is the score for this one. It sucks that it slipped by. You know what I mean? Like I was telling you this morning, I went to my inbox I got a code from PR after I tweeted about it. They're like, oh, do you want a code? I'm like, sure. And then I went to my inbox and searched for Dave the Diver, and I hadn't been emailed about Dave the Diver since September 2022. You're like, damn, you know what I mean? And like back at the time, I didn't even, you now know the amount of emails we get every morning, you know what I mean? That are just like, this thing's coming to early access, this is that, blah, blah, and it's like, unless somebody's grabbing you and be like, you got to play this, or there's a preview opportunity where you walk by, like, what the hell is that? It's so hard to discover this amount of games.
Especially when you're talking about something that, like, is indie, right? And, like, you know, it's coming out it's out on PC only right now. It's coming to Switch later.
Right, Switch later.
Yeah, and, like, usually stuff like this would be neat to see in a PlayStation State of Play or a Nintendo Direct, like an indie showcase or whatever, right? Like, or like, but yeah, this one I think kind of slipped through the cracks. And of course, like, there's been a smaller audience there that has been supporting it, and it came out in early access, I believe, at some point in the last couple of years, or at least had a preview build available.
Right. Yeah. That was one of the things they said with the code yesterday is that 1.0 is going live at midnight or whatever. So the official release.
And so there have been some people with their hands on it and trying to preach the gospel of Dave the Diver. But yeah, like, it's really cool to see something come out of left field and score really high on Metacritic and on an IGN review and look so weird and so different. Have an art style that is like this 2D pixel thing, but also like it's a management game, but also there are boss fights, and it's like, oh damn, this looks cool. And you're just playing as a dude named Dave
the Diver.
I'm
in. Fuck Final Fantasy. I'm playing this today.
I'm also in. I want to play this on my Steam Deck. Hopefully it's verified.
It does. Oh yeah. When I tweeted about it yesterday, I believe the developer responded that it's Steam Deck verified. But I'll double check for you on that.
Go get them.
I'm gonna double check.
Let's round out the Roper Report with story number 8. The Cycle Frontier is shutting down. This comes directly from the Cycle Frontier on Twitter, where they tweeted out this morning, prospectors, today's news we share with a heavy heart. The Cycle Frontier will shut down on September 27th, 2023. Making this decision was very difficult for us, but ultimately it was a necessary one. More information about this, as well as refunds, our final patch, and more. Then they have here some bullet points in an image. Servers will shut down September 27th at 9 a.m. Central. All real money purchases disabled as of June 28th. Refunds will be issued for any real money purchases made after 3 a.m. June 14th, 2023. Daily and weekly offers in-game discounted at least 95%. Free premium Fortuna Pass, and discounted level skips, and then overall progression has been accelerated. So if you want to get the fast track of Cycle Frontier, you can hop in there now and get 95% off of the weekly in-game offers. But of course, this is one that I've heard Andy talk a lot about. I know Andy, Nick, and Mike have played this on the stream. It's an extraction shooter. Mike describes it as good. It's a good extraction shooter. And when
3 out of 5 on the scale, Mike? 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. When I mentioned it in the office, I saw Mike kind of like perk up and go like, "Oh wait, really?" Like there was like a palpable bumness that was coming out of Mike, right? Like Mike was very bummed out about this information.
Would it shock you that I had no fucking idea what this was? I like sleep, rub my eyes, waking up, and I look at the phone and this thing's closing. What the fuck is the Cycle? You know what I mean?
Cycle Frontier.
You could have told me the Cycle Frontier just got announced. I'd be like, "Oh, okay."
The kids, the streets are hot.
I'm sure they are. You know, there's nothing more hot right now than another extraction shooter.
But that is the conversation.
Glad PlayStation isn't betting the farm on extraction shooters and PvPs and live services. Glad that isn't happening.
Because if a pretty good extraction shooter is getting shut down after seemingly like this game wasn't that old, Mike, right? Like this game only came out like last year?
The release trailer was from a year ago. That was the one that I just played. So yeah, it was like last June. So survived seemingly just a year.
Tough out there.
It's super tough out there.
Really full market out there. why Dave the Diver stands out. I want to give a shout out to Bobby from Console Creature, who was in my my responses yesterday saying Dave the Diver is the perfect Steam Deck game. It is verified. It works.
Let's go. Greg?
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see how some of PlayStation's extraction shooters that they've got announced perform in the market. But
not well.
The release, we don't know.
Well, I'm looking into this crystal ball. Not well.
Oh man.
It's almost like if you put an established IP, maybe that would give you a shot at it.
Marathon's established.
I mean, Marathon's the one that might have a good shot.
Say the first Marathon came out in the early 2000s.
This Haven game, come on.
Hey, Fair Games. We'll see.
Which I keep thinking is the name of the developer.
No, it's Fair Games by Haven Studio.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so excited for Fair Games. I'm so excited to see how that's going to do. But the release of Fair Games is so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
You would look at the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the KindaFunny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Dave the Diver for PC.
Woo! Apparently.
Peko for early access for PC. That's Pekoe. Revival Recolonization early access for PC. I don't know how I feel about colonization. 4 classic Sega
we
Genesis
can do it right
games.
This time.
We can correct the wrong spirit. 4 classic Sega Genesis games have just been made available for Switch Online and expansion pack members. They are Ghouls and Ghosts, Crusader of Senti, Landstalker, and The Revenge of Shinobi. And then new dates for you. The Grinch Christmas Adventure comes out October 13th on everything. Gravity Circuit.
Well, hold on. Hold it. This was one that I sent this morning because it gets us ever closer to the truth that maybe the Grinch will one day come to Super Smash Brothers.
Wow. Yeah.
That was never the rumor, by the way. Nobody thought the Grinch was coming to Super Smash Brothers.
I don't know.
I think
I remember that differently.
The real conspiracy here is the fact that the Grinch Christmas Adventure is coming out October 13th. Does that struck anybody as weird?
You want to build up
Halloween
some hype.
season.
You want to
build
build
up some hype and buzz
before the holidays, and then before the Game Awards, where they'll announce the Grinch for Smash Brothers finally, because it's coming to Switch. He's now on the Switch platform.
Like at least wait for Black Friday or something. Late November. You got to hype up for the Christmas season. I feel like you're going too early. Anyway, that's coming out October 13th. Gravity Circuit for PS4 and PS5, Switch and PC launches July 13th. Mordhau console version for Xbox One and Series X, PS4 and PS5 launches July 12th. Air Twister is coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, Switch, and PC on November 10th. Arcadian Atlas launches July 27th on PC, then later this year on consoles. And then Stardew Valley is coming to Apple Arcade on July 21st. Deal of the day for you. What up?
I have a new date for you.
Oh, what's up? Why are you cracking your knuckles?
You're not allowed to steal this tomorrow
This
with
scares
him.
me.
All right?
Okay.
Don't steal this tomorrow with him.
All right.
But I've noticed something about you and me. All right? We're great hosts.
We are.
Everybody knows that.
Of course.
But often when we're done reading, we engage, we do this business where we swing our arm over and we talk to each other this way.
Yeah.
Clearly, and it's fine, this table's multi-purpose and yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, it wasn't thought through on how 2 people would be at this table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is on Friday's show, Barrett's not going to like this one bit, but on Friday's show, I want you to podcast from that end and me to podcast from this end. Because then I think we might have an eye line where we're not constantly rotating our body.
It is tough, yeah. Like,
I mean, we sat here.
but I also
I feel like we'd be. I told you wouldn't like it, Barrett. I told you wouldn't like it. But I feel like we would open up more. But like we're doing this weird thing where
But now
like
we have to
nobody looks
yell
good
at
on
each
camera
other.
like this, but like this, talking to Bless, I feel like this is a better look.
But then you're even
And it's not-
farther away from them, and then
Take it up with Matt Scarpino. He made the fucking desk. I can't help you on that one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I kind of like how casual and cool we look. When
We do look cool and
arm
casual.
over the chair.
And
Sure.
that was the whole point of like the Games Daily look to differentiate it from the other shows was to have it as tight as possible and have y'all as close as possible.
But does
It feels
any
like-
other show put their host 12 feet apart?
whenever it's just him and me on like a Star Wars thing.
Really? I've never
like
watched
Xcast.
that. Sorry.
Yeah, like where Blessing is, that's where I would like. That's
I
where
guess
Tim would be.
I mean, it still doesn't fix it. I'm still.
Yeah, you still gotta look
turned.
over. You still gotta fucking turn.
Well, we have an angle.
Whoa!
No, we have
Did
an
you need
angle.
to curse? Nobody's fucking cursing. We're having a good time talking shop
fucking
over
cursing
here.
all the time, Greg.
What you?
This is so much easier on my back. Like I don't have to do all the
I
twisting.
mean, it might be why you're so limber though.
That is true. Yeah, like it's getting a natural stretch during Kind of Funny Games Daily. I kind of like this, actually. I agree with Greg here.
Just Friday. We're going to try it on Friday.
We're going to try it.
Keep it on the tube the entire show. Who cares?
We got a deal of the day for you. July PS Plus essential titles have been confirmed. You're getting Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War for PS5 and PS4, Alan Wake Remastered for PS5 and PS4.
Will this be the time I play through it all the way? Probably
Absolutely not. And then Endling Extinction is Forever for PS5 and PS4.
Barrett hates this.
Now it's time for KindaFunny.com/you're wrong.
This is such a perfect meme format for Bless. So go back to Bless in that shot, and then everybody screenshot it, put whatever you want next to their text.
I endorse whatever's written right here. Whatever's written here, I endorse it 100%. I gave this person my permission to say these things.
And I'll tell you right now, if I was a social media person, there'd be a lot of talk about revival, recolonization right there.
Oh my God. Wait, put it back on me, Barrett. As a member of Kinda Funny, Blessing Adeoye Jr. endorses this. Cool. Let's see what happens with that.
I love it.
Oh man, that's gonna go wrong. Now it's time for KindaFunny.com/you're wrong, where you write in and let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. Let's see. Okay, no, you're wrongs. People are just editorializing. We nailed it, Greg.
Yay!
We did it. I'll give you a high five, but you're so far away.
Far away, man. That's the one downside. I can't touch each other.
This handshake is gonna be.
I'll come over.
Okay, I'll meet you halfway.
Okay,
cool.
Oh, maybe we should put the chairs halfway.
Yeah, probably. God. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Make it easier for the handshake.
Like we have it normally.
Bear, this is art out here. All right,
we're adjusting.
It's something.
All right. Tomorrow's hosts for Kinda Funny Games Daily are going to be Greg and Tim Geddes. If you're watching live, of course, after this, we're doing a post show where Mike comes through. He asks us your YouTube Super Chat questions. So stay tuned for that after the handshake. Of course, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames and twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Until next time, Game Daily.
Barrett can't stop the fun. He tries, but he can't stop the fun.
He tries. I'm very nervous about what people are going to take that meme format and do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did it to yourself.
You know? Our audience is nice.
What's this adjacent shirt?
Country Club adjacent. It's Mark Smalls and his jabronis.
Gotcha.
I bought one for Nick. He never wore it.
What a surprise. You know what I mean?
It's like no fun, Greg.
I'm sure D threw it out as soon as it came through the front door.
I'll tell you what, if I bought you some overalls, you know what Greg would wear?
Wearing
goddamn overalls.
Like fucking Roger's in there in the jumpsuit. I'm like, we can do this? Can I just
can
wear a Ghostbuster jumpsuit every day?
You can do this, Greg. It's a cool style. Yo, what the heck is going on, everybody? Welcome to your Super Chats with Super Mike and the boys here from Kinda Funny Games Daily. We are very excited to have all of you for a nice little KFGD post show. Of course, Bless and Greg have taken you through the nerdy news you need to know about. And now I'm jumping in to the chat with all of you where you can get your questions, comments, concerns read right now on this KFGD post show. Of course, don't forget, if you're watching live on Twitch, you can subscribe at the tier 1 through 3 level or for free with Prime Gaming. You can leave that burning question of yours. Or if you're over on YouTube, you can super chat right now with that cool new feature with all of your questions. If you want to dive a little bit deeper in today's news topics, if you want to bring up a random topic of discussion like, hey, Bless, what do you endorse? You can write that in right now. You know?
What do you endorse?
What do you endorse, big dog? Let's jump in and have some fun. Of course, Bless, as I was sitting over there, Greg was talking about AEW.
He was.
And I was like, who's on the AEW roster? And so I started scrolling through the roster. There's a man named the Luchasaurus.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way there's a Luchasaurus.
There is. He's in the game.
And he's a champion, just so you know.
Is he a luchador dinosaur?
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And that's pretty lit.
That's a
there also seems to be a child, Greg, just so you know. And I'm a little concerned for that child's well-being.
Hey, it worked out for Dominic Mysterio, all right?
You remember Hornswoggle?
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget Hornswoggle. Vince McMahon's illegitimate son.
All right. I like that. So,
what a crazy storyline.
Of course, best friends, don't forget you can write in, chat, whatever you'd like. Let's jump into the chat, see what's going on right now with everybody over on Twitch. Of course, want to give a big shout out to the hype train that has been created by Thor and, of course, Snug Team 6. That's a great name right there.
That is a good one. I do like that.
Question coming in from Mr. Gunner95. Do you think devs/publishers will be more reluctant to work with Sony after the interference with the ABK merger, Greg Miller?
Do I think devs/publishers will be more reluctant to work with Sony? Absolutely not.
Wow, after the interference, he says.
No. They don't give a shit. This is all about money.
Give me money.
If I'm an indie dev and PlayStation's like, yeah, we want to give you money to put it on PlayStation Plus. Fuck yeah, go for it. We want to publish the game. Thank you. Yeah. I'm eating ramen packets out of my garage right now making this game. Yeah, go for it. And then other big fucking publishers, no, they're going to be... Ubisoft's looking at this being like, man, Sony,
we got to get out.
You guys are fuckheads. We're going to make a stance here. Now, Gilmon's grinning like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's like... I don't think there's a developer that's saying, hey, let's not release our game on the most popular console platform because they're arguing.
Again, think about how it is pretty much white noise for all of us.
Yes.
Where we do this every day and we talk about this. We're like, sometimes we don't even update you guys because we're like, well, this international body said yes or no. Like, this is definitely what it's like for all the companies out there, too. It's like, I don't know, that's just business being business.
They're all definitely taking moral stances here, Greg.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the only
interference, Greg.
The only way it goes any sort in that direction is if there's like email that leaks with Jim Ryan being like, you know what, man, Sega, fuck them. If an email like that comes out, then sure, I can see Sega being like,
I hate them and
like,
I hate it.
Oh, that's kind of mean. But I think even with that, they're still going to release Persona on PlayStation, you know?
Let's go on over to our good friend DJ Kento, who writes in with a $2 super chat and says, whatever happened to getting Nick the Dobre brothers joggers? Do you remember that bit a long time ago?
Absolutely not. I assume I wasn't on the show because I don't know who the Doberry brothers are.
That was an Internet Explorer's.
He was into some late teenagers, late teens, teenagers YouTube content, and he wanted to be part of them. You know what I mean? So I was like, Nick, and then he wanted to buy me.
Have those kids been canceled yet? I'm sure something came out.
Sure, Greg. I'm sure.
Also, morning show shit. Why haven't you done a Grimace Shake bit yet?
Oh,
all about the TikTok.
Dude,
I've been loving those so much.
Turn real dark. Yeah. We should do that. Well, you know what? I'll write that down. How long is Grimace's birthday, do you think?
Oh,
how much
don't get me wrong. The trend is already over. Yeah. But we are kind of funny. We can do whatever we want.
Jumps right on it. That's right.
You see the one where the dude exploded in his car?
That was great.
Really
yeah. That's like the ultimate.
I like the one where the girl was just slowly floating down the river.
Yep.
And coughing out the Grimace Shake. God, shout out to Grimace Shake.
Kids are great. They make good content on the TikTok.
The TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know.
Drop the.
Yeah, he's very hip. You don't know. He's very hip, though.
The Facebook.
Greg, when was the last time you posted a TikTok?
Not that long ago, but I did some stupid. I think I was waiting at the mechanic, so I did like one of the things on my head.
Oh, yes. I like those. Those.
Why not?
You should do more of those.
More TikToks?
Yeah, more of the bracket ones on your head.
Oh, I didn't do the bracket.
I record them and then I delete them.
those.
I've done a lot of them, actually. There's been a lot of rap ones, like album ones, and I'll do them in my lonesome and I'll never post them. In fact, I might have some in my drafts.
Oh, no.
Usually I'm not looking camera ready.
The last TikTok I did was when I sent Roger that weird thing about me becoming a lizard.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one. I like that. I think I saw that on my day off. But yeah, they're all in my drafts. It's me in my bed on my day off without my glasses on, looking half dead, being like, ugh. Oh, no, that one.
A lot of people in the chat say, bless, you got to post those, so don't be afraid to post a couple.
Let me check my drafts and see if there's one that I'm... I also did one where I scanned myself into an anime character, and my anime character looked pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, here I have 6 different drafts.
Tell us about those.
I think this is an anime character one. Yeah, I was looking good this day. Hold on. Does this thing ever happen? Or was I just look? Oh, there we go. So you see, that's me.
Yeah.
And then it turns me into a cool looking.
Why
anime.
wouldn't you post that? Why wouldn't you post that?
I don't know, man.
Post that and just say I'm him.
All right, Mike says I need to make more TikToks.
Yeah,
so I'm making a TikTok right now.
Oh, I love that.
The question is, can I sneak up on Roger, or is he watching this right now live?
Go do it. We'll answer some questions.
Yeah, there's a little.
While Greg makes that TikTok, let's jump in right now. Kev writes in and says, Hideo Kojima tweeted, Heat 2 is out today. Will you read Heat 2?
Will I read Heat 2?
That's what it says. Will you read to read 2?
Is that a book?
Why don't you look up Hideo Kojima and see?
Heat 2 is the sequel.
The book.
But it's just a book.
The book.
Okay, is that allowed? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Can we ask Neil Druckmann to make Uncharted 5 and it's just a book?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
What if he wants to switch that? What if he wants to switch that?
Let's make Space Jam 3 and make it a novel.
Fight Club got a sequel, but it was like a comic book, I think.
What are we doing? No, you're not allowed to do
happening. Creativity is flowing.
You know what? The next episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is going to be a fucking episode on Nickelodeon.
I will ask Nick.
It's a text-based adventure.
Yeah.
I'll ask Nick if he's going to read the Heat too. It sounds like Blessing, you're out on the Heat too.
No, absolutely.
Stop looking at it and just post it. Just post it. It looks great.
Let me see.
Everybody encourage him to post that. Moving on. DJ Kento writes and says, the new McDonald's trend is to drink a vanilla shake and then everything is just fine and real chill.
How do I do the thing where the robot voice?
Let's get that robot voice.
How do I do the robot? Do I hit voice and then I talk like I say robot effect or some shit?
I want to download this one and share it with Barrett, but can you download TikToks without posting them?
Kids, how do I use the robot?
This is insane. This has gone off the rails.
I got this TikTok where it tells me who I look like.
Voice filters.
Okay, yeah.
Who do you think is going to be? It's not who you expect.
Justin Bieber. You look just like JP.
It's not who you expect.
DJ Kento.
Oh, I got. Hold on.
No. Yeah. Tell me.
Oh, I guess it's.
Bear King writes in and says, what company do you all think will buy KF Studios? Nice.
No, I don't like that.
No, you don't like the super robot.
All right, we're just putting it up right now. Everybody go to TikTok. Hold on. And I'm going to put.
Bear King, that's a great question.
Sorry at Roger.
Yeah.
Sorry, Roger Perconi.
Yep.
Comment the content.
See, he's posting. You need to post yours.
All right, I'll post one of these.
Post the himbo one, and just say I'm him.
Look what this AI did.
I mean, I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie to you, Bless. I don't like that hairstyle on you. I don't like the hairstyle.
The reason why I don't post a lot of these.
All right, it's going up right now. No, that's a Virgin Galactic thing. They're doing something. Don't worry about it. All right, it's up. If you want to go to TikTok.com/@GameOverGreggy Barrett, we can watch me.
We got a lot.
Now it's second screen experience.
A lot of TikToks going on right now. We're
you just
put those
inspired
up.
it. You just changed the world.
And speaking of TikToks, good friend John writes in and says, speaking of TikTok, I appreciate your support on the Geekverse TikToks, Mike. Shout out to the Geekyverse TikToks. I like John and his crew. They got the Buffalo Sabres gear. He's always posting about video games. I got a post where he did 5 TikToks. And he's like, whatever TikTok you get on your For You page will be the game of the year. Turns out I got 3 more of those because I like watching his stuff.
All right, here, let's watch this. Give me some volume because this is a good one. This is a good one. We got him, Barrett. There's no volume out here, Barrett. Okay.
We got him, Barrett. We got him, Barrett.
You wanted it. You wanted that hot content. You got that content. Shout out to Kevin Spears. I see. So I peeked around the corner. I'm like, is he watching me? And then Nick blows up my spot. What you doing there? Nothing.
Nick sucks.
Now watch this. Roger gets real upset.
See, this is the content. Post that. That's what people want. That's what people want. People want to see behind the scenes.
Shout out to Kevin Spears saying first in my comments, and Colin58008 says, hi, Greg. Hi, Colin.
There you go. Love that. Let's go on over to Jeff. Jeff writes in and says, Blessing, are you still anti-potato chips and ketchup as a snack?
Oh. I don't remember this conversation.
It's just deconstructed French fries. Like
taking
Final
potato
Fantasy
chips and dunking them
16.
in ketchup?
In ketchup, yeah.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
I love this line, though. Like Final Fantasy 16, press L3 plus R3 to accept the truth, Bless.
No, absolutely not.
I'll be accepting my truth.
Now, do you do that?
Y'all need to cool it with Final Fantasy 16.
Just accepting my truth,
Accept
bro.
the truth, Bear.
Accept my truth.
Press the buttons and accept the truth.
Chill out.
DJ Kento writes and says, the guy who reads Heat 2 for the audiobook has an incredible voice and should be the next animated Batman. Pull up a sample on Audible. Cool guy, Barrett. He's a cool guy, Barrett. Take a look.
Barrett, he's a cool guy.
Cool.
Greg, if you were to be an audiobook reader, what book would you read?
The Joy of Sex.
That'd be pretty dope. Are you going to read an excerpt for us? Where do we think we're going to take this one today?
Yeah, we are. We're gonna go here. See, I'm gonna read from the sample chapters here.
You're going to sample a chapter for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Amazon.com for you.
Greg
right?
and his 2 children are about to listen to this one.
Jesus
Get
Christ.
ready.
No, this is 23.
2 children. Do you have something to announce?
You and I.
Oh, God damn.
we're the 2 children.
Oh, my God. Y'all, if you're out there like, I don't want to pay for porn, you can look at the free sample of the Amazon Joy of Sex here. And they got
those two are just sleeping.
They got nudies, man. They got nudie photos in here.
It's like the Barnes and It's like the Barnes and Noble nudies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, look how cool I look as an anime character.
Did you write I'm him?
TikTok. I honestly, Mike, I posted it and I deleted it immediately. I posted it, then I downloaded it.
You're killing me. You're gonna have to post that.
Chat likes it though.
Yeah, everybody likes it. You look great.
Thank you.
Okay, you gonna read us an excerpt really quick or what?
On gourmet lovemaking.
There we go. Gourmet love.
All of us, barring any physical limitations, are able to dance and sing.
Yeah, I love it. I'm
After
vibing
a
with
fashion. This, if you think about it, summarizes the justification for learning to make love. Love, in the same way as singing, is something to be taken spontaneously. You think Celine Dion is just spontaneous? She's planning her song. She's practicing. On the other hand, the difference between Pavlova and the Palais de Dance or opera and barbershop singing is much less than the difference between sex, as our recent ancestors came to accept it, and sex as it can be. At least we recognize this now, so that instead of worrying if sex is sinful, most people now worry whether they are getting satisfaction. One can worry about anything given the determination. Let me finish this paragraph.
Yeah, finish it for me.
And there are now enough books about the basics. We are largely past the point of people worrying about the normality, possibility, and variety of sexual experience. This book is slightly different in that there are now enough people who have the basics and want depth of understanding solid ideas and inspiration, like a solid cock.
Whoa. Wow, that's what they ended with a solid cock.
I dropped that in there. This is the most. I read
It's
smut for
jazz.
a living, and this
It's
is
jazz.
boring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Thank you. I'm glad he said that because, man,
I thought we were going to get something
you got
fun
two
and
sentences
exciting.
and I was like, this sucks. You know what I mean?
Women,
Solid cock
by
is
her,
inspiring.
for him. Women, like men, have direct physical responses. Sure. Science proves that we get turned on just as much as you and as quickly. It's simply that traditionally we have been discouraged. But our triggers are different. Parentheses. Breasts and skin first. Please, not a direct grab of the clitoris. End parentheses. And can't be short-circuited. It matters to us who is doing what far more than it does to most men. Again, this is back to me with my whole thing of why don't we have a jerk-off stand. The fact that, unlike you, we can't be visibly turned off and lose erection often confuses men into hurrying things or missing major resources.
This is a video game news show.
No, now we're in the post show.
Yeah, we're in the post show where anything goes.
Would you like to see a nice drawing of 69?
Yes, actually, I would.
Oh, that's a nice drawing. That's an elegant drawing.
That's an elegant drawing of 69.
I don't know why I was expecting like a pencil sketch.
That's not a bad one.
like almost like they're stick
Holy
figures.
Yeah, like I was expecting like something very basic. It's very detailed and beautiful.
Let's go on over to Jim Tasty writes in and says, which movie would Clive from Final Fantasy 16 see? Oppenheimer or Barbie?
Oh, that's a really good question because I think his gruffness and general masculinity would lead you to think Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
but he's a sensitive dude that I think is like very non-toxic masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I'm gonna go Barbie. I think you would see Barbie.
Will Barbie be good?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know about like amazing.
Okay.
But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a fun time. I think we're gonna get what you'd want to get out of a movie titled Barbie.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Kind of funny best friends. Thank you so much for writing in. We have another one coming in.
Real quick, we're in the
right now.
ingredients section of The Joy of Sex, the Ultimate Revised Edition. And I'm going to read I'm going to read from the ingredients, the nakedness ingredient.
Please read it. Please read.
Nakedness.
Yes.
The normal state for lovers who take their work at all seriously, at least as a basic requisite. They don't so much start clothed and shed what they must as start naked and add any extras they need. Nakedness doesn't mean lack of ornament. A woman may take off all her clothes, but put on all her jewels. The only practical need, as with wristwatches, is to see they don't catch or scratch. This is for daylight. It is difficult to sleep in them. Is an AI writing this? Thank you,
Mike.
Thank you for that, Greg.
Could you imagine like you're taking back the night on a Friday night?
Taking back the night.
You go back home with a wonderful gal.
Yep.
And things get hot and heavy. You start to strip.
I'm
Michael.
naked. Yep.
You're both naked, and she says,
nakedness. That's an ingredient.
She says, she says, hold on. I gotta put on my jewels.
I must adorn myself.
I must adorn myself before we get started. I got 10 necklaces and some fucking wrist jewelry I need to put on. I'm leaving. I'm walking
You're
out
leaving.
the house.
I'm okay with that.
Now, real quick, just be clear. Of course, this was in the section on gourmet lovemaking. All right,
gourmet lovemaking.
So yeah.
And I get
when
it.
When you walk into a McDonald's, do you expect a steak knife and fine linens? No, all right. Jesus. This is gourmet lovemaking. These are the ingredients to gourmet lovemaking. Not a drive-through jerk off at Greg's jerk off stand. All right.
Find me another excerpt. Garrett writes in and says, "I picked up a PS5 for Final Fantasy 16. I want to play Ghosts as well. I've been waiting for the PC port, and I feel it could hit this year. Do you recommend waiting, or should I pick it up on PS5?" PC's biased.
If you have a PS5, wait, they said they're getting.
They have a PS5.
Oh yeah, play it on PS5.
Yeah, they're waiting for it to hit PC.
There is a chance that it comes out on PC, and guess what? It just doesn't perform because we've seen that happen now with PlayStation stuff. I don't think it's worth the risk. I think just pick it up on PS5. It plays perfectly on PS5, unless there's a specific PC function that you really, really need, like you got a widescreen or ultra wide or some shit. Nah, man, just get it on PS5.
There's the PS5 version that enhance it a little bit.
Exactly. The director's cut is on PS5.
I got Darth Doobie saying play the remaster on PS5, and then the End All says get PS Plus and play it for free.
There you go. Yeah.
Bang. Bada boom, bada bang.
Yeah, you're gonna pay full price on PC, whereas on PlayStation it's on. Yeah, it sounds like it's on PS Plus. Get it there, and if it's not on PS Plus, I'm sure you can still get it for some kind of deal.
While Greg continues to read through to find us something spicy.
You're not gonna find.
You just keep going. You keep going.
All right.
Oscar writes in and says, "Will we see a pro version of the PS5/Xbox Series X and S soon?"
Yes. Soon.
When is soon?
Soon to me is next year, and so
okay.
You think you get it next year?
Yeah, I think by fall 2024, and that's been part of the rumors or
fall
whatever.
Heading into the holidays.
Yeah,
we see the next version.
PS5 Pro. Yeah.
You agree with that?
I hope. Because I want a smaller PS5 to take on travels.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, totally.
But I'm going to say no. I'm going to say 2025.
Okay. You know what I really want, and I've been holding back on buying, but I'm going to break here soon, is the special screen for your Xbox Series S.
Oh, I love that little guy.
I believe those guys are from Australia down under. Those guys have made a really dope screen. The X screen, I think it's called, something like that. And every time I go to their website, and I'm like, I'm about to buy this. And then a little piece of me says, Mike, don't do it, Mike. Don't do it. You're trying. But one day I'll break. One day I'll break real soon.
Like you always do.
I always do. It's right. I can't wait. With that, it is time to wrap up our KFGD Super Chat, Super Post Show. Greg Miller, thank you for taking us on a vision today. I thought of things.
Always happy to make content with you.
I saw things, and I won't forget. And I love making
Again, I'm just saying, you guys are in a pinch. They got photos in this book, and you can get it for free Amazon preview.
Hey, let me put on this jewelry. I want to shop.
Let me adorn myself. Let me adorn you in my love is right.
Like, you already got me. I'm here already. You won.
Of course, we're going to have some fun stuff going on today. Me and the boys are going to play Valheim. I also have some dope Lord of the Rings Magic cards to open up with the team. So Nick and Andy, they're big on, of course, One Piece. And so, not One Piece, Lord of the Rings. And so we're going to talk about it.
Right now,
well, I got lost in the sex talk. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to have a great day. Alex, I saw yours and I'm trying to work it in, Alex. So I'll let you know. I'll probably do it on the next stream. I got a word of the day from Alex J. Sandoval.
I like that.
And so I'm looking to work it in.
Was it
I almost worked in.
Come on.
You know what I mean? I
was just drop that.
After Greg talked about sexual positions and the clitoris, I was like, man, am I going to say something dumb here? And you know what? I'll wait for a little bit.
You're smart.
I'll wait for a little bit. Until then, best friends, we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.